United forever in friendship and labor, our mighty republics will ever endure. The great Soviet Union will live through the ages, the dream of a people, their fortress secure. Long live our Soviet motherland, built by the people's mind.
San Francisco, California, the Golden Gate to the land of opportunity, to the land of the free and the home of the brave. San Francisco, world famous for its natural beauty, its tolerance of diversity, and its forward thinking. San Francisco is a union town. It was here that the longshoremen led a general strike when the police shot 2 men dead for the crime of picketing, winning their hiring hall and their dignity. It was here these striking workers faced the National Guard, who maintained civic order with bayonets and with machine gun nests and tanks along the Embarcadero. Just as the great textile strike in the American South was crushed in 1934, with enduring tragic consequences, so here in San Francisco the Union won a resounding and glorious victory in 1934, one that had enduring positive benefits for workers, both in and far beyond the longshore industry. Instrumental to that victory was a relatively small number of supportive communists, both strikers and others who helped with everything from the strikers' soup kitchen to legal defense work to printing daily strike news in their local paper, the Western Worker. Longshore bosses and politicians like Mayor Rossi and Governor Merriam needed to justify the use of the National Guard against nonviolent strikers. Seeking to shift blame, they publicly asserted, with no proof whatsoever, that the general strike was a Bolshevik plot to overthrow the government. Even as the strike was being won, a series of vigilante raids was conducted against real or alleged communist offices, meeting halls, and homes all over the city. Buildings were besieged, their contents defenestrated, their inhabitants beaten and arrested, and the foreign-born among them deported, all for the crime of supporting the workers' cause. This film seeks to document those events, and in doing so, to remember. Nate Thornton was a young communist in San Francisco in the 1930s, and he remembers.
By this time it was 32, 33. I was going to Commerce High School, I guess, at that time in San Francisco. And I think that's close to the time that the United States decided to recognize the Soviet Union. But there was a lot of debate at that time going on about whether they should recognize the Soviet Union or not. And our teacher was interested, and she picked me and another guy to debate a couple other guys, a couple other students, on the question of should we recognize the Soviet Union. I took the affirmative because I thought we should recognize it, and we had already joined by this time. We'd been in the Communist Party a couple of years, I guess, by this time. I suggested to my dad, I said, let's join. He was a little bit leery because he'd been in a miners' union in Utah, and they had clubbed the hell out of a bunch of the miners. The police had. The miners went on strike, and the police clubbed the hell out of them, and he was kind of leery about any kind of activity like that. But so let's give it a try, okay. So we decided we both joined the party then. And we went to 121 Haight Street. It was an office building, and the party had headquarters there, and they did party work there. People came and went.
Here's how the July 18, 1934 edition of the San Francisco Examiner described the raids at 121 Haight Street. Driving out the occupants in another hand-to-hand battle, the attackers smashed the headquarters of the International Labor Defense, then stormed through the entire building, Ruthberger Hall, where the communists have conducted a College of Communism. Here another mob, screaming women and children among them, followed the raiders. Dishes, kitchen utensils, and bedclothing were hurled through the shattered windows. Pictures of Lenin and Stalin were torn down, ripped to shreds, and thrown to the street. Again, police arrived too late to capture the 3-car brigade.
121 Haight was more of a general city headquarters. They also had in the mission they had an office, headquarters for the party.
Vigilantes also visited the same violence upon the large hall at 1223 Fillmore Street, where the Communist Party held their public meetings and social functions. Tell me about the meeting hall on Fillmore Street at 1223 Fillmore. What was that called? Was that the open forum, or?
That was like a gymnasium, not a gymnasium, but it was an auditorium where it was big enough for dancing and big enough for big parties. And we rented that. The party rented it, and we had parties and we had good times there. We had all kinds of gatherings. It was real nice.
37 Grove Street, headquarters of the Western Worker, the Communist Party newspaper, was attacked not once but repeatedly. Once on July 7th, and again on July 17th, and again on October 25th. According to the October 26th Western Worker, the attack was made with the apparent winking of the police, who at the time of the previous raids during July on workers' headquarters and homes, and who at the time of the American Legion State Convention here, organized a statewide anti-communist committee. During the entire time of the present election campaign, they have been carrying on a drive to try to terrorize the workers into halting their election struggle by breaking up meetings and closing halls. But the heart of communist involvement in the longshore strike was the Marine Workers' Industrial Union, and the authorities knew it. That's why the place got special treatment. Here's how the Western Worker covered it on August 1st. Tuesday, the reign of terrorism began in San Francisco. Blocking off both ends of the block on Jackson Street, where the Marine Workers' Industrial Union Hall is located, National Guardsmen with fixed bayonets and others with machine guns mounted on trucks behind sandbags held back crowds of workers while a mob of police rushed into the hall and, after arresting everyone in sight, wrecked the place and confiscated all records and literature. This was the beginning of a wave of violence that has already lasted 12 days and is still in progress. Soup lines and picket lines were combed by the bulls, and known militant workers were arrested and booked on fake charges of vagrancy and en route to Los Angeles or Oakland, a device whereby they could be held for at least a week without bail being set. And so the scene repeated all over the city that hot summer of 1934, and all over California, and across the country and around the world. Where Governor Merriam failed to smash the communist movement with the armed might of the state, Hitler succeeded in 1934 to infamous results. Yes, San Francisco is a union town, none more liberal in the country. We value diversity and cherish our freedoms. Freedom to be ourselves, in a sanctuary city. Freedom we enjoy because people fought and died for those rights, sacrificed and suffered, right here on the streets of San Francisco. Indeed, the current total assault on civil liberties in America is nothing new. The real question is, how have we stayed free for so long? Look to the proud traditions of American communism, my friends. Look well and learn.
I've got to know, yes, I've got to know a friend. Hungry lips ask me wherever I go. Comrades and friends all falling around me. I've got to know, yes, I've got to know. You keep me in jail and you lock me in prison. Your hospital's jammed and your crazy house full. What made your cop kill my trade union worker? You'll have to talk plain, 'cause I've sure got to know. I've got to know, yes, I've got to know, friend. Hungry lips ask me wherever I go. Comrades and friends all falling around me. I've got to know, yes, I've got to know.